Now let's play with soft lights in order to make our composite even more realistic. Alright, so we added Todd to this backdrop. Remember, our original image had Todd on the couch here indoors. Now we want to make it look like he's part of the background here. We've already added a color duplicate layer of Todd, but a color adjustment layer and a curves to add black point and white point. Now let's go ahead and play with soft light so we can make it seem as if the colors of the sky are bouncing off of Todd a little bit to make him even more lifelike, natural, realistic as part of this sunset scene. We're going to come down here to the bottom of the layer panel and add new layer. This is basically a blank layer. Okay, you see it's added right here. We're going to grab our brush tool, B for brush. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to hold down Option, alternate key on a PC, and it's going to sample the colors here. Let's come to this sunset here and look for a nice yellowy color. Okay, and that's pretty good. You see how the color changes on the bottom of the top part of that circle on the inside. Okay, I'm going to make my brush a little bigger. I'm also going to make it a really soft brush. Okay, so maybe around 20. Escape. Actually, let's first reset the tool and then make it a nice soft brush around 20, 23, and then pretty big. Make it around 400, around there. Escape to dismiss that. It's actually, because I think it undid what I wanted, I'm going to press enter. Now that holds on to it. Okay, I'm going to just begin painting on Todd, and it's going to almost look like graffiti. That's okay. Paint on the dog too. Okay, especially along this side of him. Okay. Now the light of a sunset is going to be uneven. Right? There's going to be lots of light, lots of shades of light going on. So it's okay if it's not the full covering over Todd. Okay. Now we're going to change this to soft light. But before we do that, let's come down here, make a layer mask. Then let's paint with black. Alright, so I'm going to bring the hardness back up. Okay, and then I'm going to come along the outside. Oops. I'm going to come along the outside so that, and make my brush smaller, because I don't need to add any color to the background. I just want to get Todd in there. Alright, so I'm coming along the outside of Todd. I am going to have to make another pass at this after I exchange. Right, I'm going to X to exchange. I come along the inside of Todd and making sure that Todd is fully covered. Okay, let's go back to the actual layer, that new layer with that color on there, and let's change normal. So I targeted that layer. I targeted the layer and that actual image of the layer, not the layer mask, by clicking on it. You might hear Bunsen snoring next to me on the couch here. And I'm going to go to soft light. Okay, that still looks pretty dreadful. And you see that we probably need to go ahead and bring that back in right there. Okay, but anyways, we're back in here. Now let's play with the opacity, bring it way down. And by way down, I mean maybe teens, 20s. Let's say 25. We'll turn that on and off. Okay, so that's looking more, maybe down to 15. That's looking more like the light from the scene. Okay, it's pretty dramatic light, so I'm going to leave it up that much. And I'm going to do another light now. So I'm going to get a new layer from the bottom of the layer panel. I'm going to hold down Option key. I'm going to come around the back of Todd, and I think I'm going to find this orange. See that orange there? Dramatic orange. Right along the edge as it touches the land there. And I'm going to make my brush bigger. This time I'm going to bring the flow down. The flow is like opacity, but with each stroke it makes it darker, right? So for instance, if I did a flow of 18%, and let's say 15, and I start, you see it's pretty light. Okay, but if I go over him again, it's going to add another 15%, making it 30% now. Okay, and then another one will add another 15%. So instead of doing it that way, what I'm going to do, make my brush a little smaller. Okay, I'm going to then make my brush smaller with each stroke because I want there to be some dimensionality along the outside. Okay, make my brush a little smaller. Here the dog's making some noises in the background. Okay, and even smaller still. Now, as I said, a sunset is not going to be really even, right? So you might want to bring some oranges here along the creases in the clothing, along the dog a little bit right there, right? All right, so we don't want it to be real even anyway, because a sunset, it would not be that even. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and before I make this into soft light, make a layer mask. I'll reset this tool. Alright, and then I'm going to come along the outside of Todd and make sure, I'm painting with white, make sure to paint with black, I exchanged it. Make sure this is not bleeding over into the image itself. We only want Todd to be colored with this soft light layer. Okay, I'm going to have to exchange it and come along a little bit on the inside. This is why it's good to go in really close, Command plus plus, and then bring it over here. Exchange. Exchange. Exchange to paint with black. Good. Full canvas. Okay, I'm going to come back to the image, the layer rather here, the color I just painted, not the mask. I'm going to change that to soft light. Okay, and then I'm going to bring that down with opacity. Turn that on and off, and you see there's definitely some nice oranges. And again, it's a dramatic scene, so it's okay. Now, I'm seeing some white here I don't like on his head from the original background, but he was composited from, he was masked from. So I'm actually going to come back to Todd down here. You might have to do this to get Todd, and I'm actually going to mask that out by painting with black and just gently masking that out because I don't like that. That might mean you have to mask it out here too on that color layer. Okay, good. All right, so you're seeing a dramatic difference there. Okay, let's go ahead now and get another layer down here at the bottom of the layer panel. Hold down Option, and let's actually get some of this gray. You'd think, well, why would you want to add gray? Well, again, you're adding some pretty dramatic color, some light, basically, trying to make it appear like the light is bouncing off of Todd. So I'm going to come here, bring the flow down again to maybe around 25, and I'm going to make my brush pretty small. I'm actually adding some gray, which seems odd, but you do want to do this. I don't want my brush to be that hard, so I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to bring my brush, make it softer. Okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to this time bring some grays in there, maybe along the inside. Alright, I'm being more random than I probably should be. Probably along the shadow portions would be good. Okay. Once again, do I need to, I don't think I do, but I will make a layer mask just in case. Okay, I'm going to reset that brush, paint with black along the outside, and make sure that none of that spilled over to the actual image. Okay, come back to here, make that into soft light. Okay, play with the opacity, bring that down. You can always use the toggle to see how it looks. Okay, and that is definitely looking more dramatic now. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sample some of, I'm going to go and get another layer, of course, from the bottom of the layer panel. I'm going to now load the brush with some of this dramatic sun beam right here. Alright, so I'm going to get very orangey. I think I'll get that. It's really orangey. Make my brush dark, bigger. I'm going to also bring down the flow, but not as much. Okay, and then I'm going to, maybe a little less than that. I'm going to start along the outside here. Okay, get the dog even. Now I'm going to bring my brush down. Oops, my brush down even smaller. Get along the outside of here. Okay, maybe get the tops of the creases. Okay. Right, because we can imagine that sunbeam affecting Todd. Okay, I do want to do a layer mask, making sure there's no spillover. Okay, I probably reset my brush again. Okay, make it bigger. Paint with black. Oops. Probably not make the brush quite that big. Okay, usually you'd want to go in Command++, but for the sake of time I won't. Come back to the original, play with the opacity, but also make it into soft light. Okay, pretty dramatic, but a sunset would do that, right? I'm not going to bring it down very much because I want it to be dramatic. Maybe a little more. Okay, you can take these 3 or 4, put them into their own group. So I'm dragging them down after I held down Shift to grab them. Okay, I'm going to call that Todd Soft Light. And then I can toggle them on and off all together. You can also play with the opacity all together, which I will do. Okay, and you see, wow, what a difference. That is really making him look dramatic. I don't like how it looks there on his face, so I'm going to come back into the folder. Yeah, I think it was here. I'm going to come back into here, and I'm actually going to lighten that a little bit in his face area by masking it. But I'm going to bring down the flow, so you can also use flow with the mask. Okay, painting with black. Okay, to get rid of a little bit from the face. Okay. Yeah, I like that a little better. Okay, so you can see there's a little bit of gray in there now in the face area where I just masked it out. Okay. Close that up and then turn that on and off. Really nice. Really does look like a sunset, sort of all the light reflecting. Okay, and if we turn off all of our adjustments, you can see the original picture. Okay, and now add them one at a time. These adjustments have really made him look like he's more part of the sunset scene than he was in the original image. Now there are plenty of other things you can do, such as burning and dodging, which you could see in another tutorial how to do that, but this will take you a far way towards making your composite more realistic.